The Awakening of Intelligence by J. Krishnamurti is a profound exploration of the human mind, consciousness, and the nature of intelligence. In this book, Krishnamurti examines the way intelligence is often limited by the conditioning of society, culture, education, and personal experiences. He challenges conventional ideas about intelligence, asserting that true intelligence arises when the mind is freed from these limitations and is able to perceive reality without distortion. The central theme of the book is that intelligence is not merely a product of knowledge or intellect, but rather the capacity to observe, understand, and act without the interference of preconceived notions or personal biases. Krishnamurti suggests that the mind must be free from all forms of conditioning, from societal influences, from the past, from beliefs and ideologies, in order to experience true intelligence. The relationship between knowledge and intelligence. Krishnamurti begins by addressing the relationship between knowledge and intelligence. He emphasizes that while knowledge is useful in certain contexts, it is not synonymous with intelligence. Knowledge is based on the past, on accumulated information and experiences, whereas intelligence is something dynamic and alive, responding to the present moment. Knowledge often reinforces our conditioning, and in turn, it limits our ability to perceive things as they truly are. Intelligence, according to Krishnamurti, is the ability to go beyond knowledge and experience reality without distortion. He warns against relying solely on intellectual understanding and analysis, as this often leads to fragmentation in the mind. The mind becomes trapped in patterns of thought that are shaped by past experiences and desires. This fragmentation prevents the mind from seeing things as they are, leading to conflict and confusion. Freedom from conditioning. A significant portion of the book is devoted to the idea of freeing the mind from conditioning. Krishnamurti explores how people are conditioned from a young age by their families, societies, religions, and educational systems. This conditioning shapes their thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions of the world. He argues that in order for true intelligence to emerge, the individual must recognize and transcend these ingrained patterns of thought. For Krishnamurti, the process of freeing the mind from conditioning is not about following a method or a system, but rather about observing oneself without judgment or attachment. By becoming aware of one's own thought patterns and emotional reactions, a person can begin to see how their mind is conditioned and, through this awareness, break free from the constraints of the past. The nature of thought and the self. Krishnamurti also delves into the nature of thought and the concept of the self. He explains that much of human suffering arises from the identification with the self, the ego. The self is a construct built upon the accumulation of experiences, memories, and desires. This sense of I is an illusion, according to Krishnamurti, and it creates division and conflict both within oneself and with others. He emphasizes that when the mind is caught in the illusions of the self, it becomes narrow and self-centered, unable to see beyond its own desires and fears. True intelligence arises when the mind is able to move beyond the confines of the self and perceive the world without the interference of personal identity or ego. This, in turn, leads to a sense of freedom and liberation. The importance of direct perception. Krishnamurti stresses the importance of direct perception, seeing things as they are without the distortion of thought. He argues that intelligence is not something that can be cultivated through intellectual effort or by adhering to a set of principles. Instead, it comes from the capacity to observe the world without judgment, without preconceived ideas, and without the filter of past experiences. Direct perception allows the mind to be in tune with the present moment, to see things as they truly are, and to respond to situations without the interference of past conditioning. This is the essence of intelligence, and it is available to everyone, regardless of their background or education. The role of love and relationship. In the later chapters of the book, Krishnamurti explores the relationship between intelligence, love, and human relationships. He argues that true intelligence is not merely an intellectual pursuit, but is deeply connected to love and compassion. Love, in Krishnamurti's view, is not something that can be cultivated through effort or discipline, but arises naturally when the mind is free from self-centeredness and conditioning. In relationships, Krishnamurti highlights the importance of understanding and sensitivity. True intelligence in relationships is not about seeking personal gain or satisfaction, but about understanding others without judgment or expectation. When individuals are able to look at each other without the lens of ego, they can experience deeper, more meaningful connections. The search for truth. Finally, Krishnamurti discusses the search for truth. He argues that truth cannot be found through external authority, such as religious leaders, philosophers, or teachers. Truth is not something to be discovered in books or teachings, it must be directly perceived by each individual. The search for truth is, therefore, an inward journey, one that requires self-awareness and a willingness to challenge one's own beliefs and assumptions. Krishnamurti suggests that when individuals are able to free themselves from the confines of their conditioning and look at the world with clarity and openness, they will experience a profound sense of truth, a truth that is not bound by time, culture, or belief systems. 7 Life Lessons from the Awakening of Intelligence. Intelligence is not just intellectual knowledge, true intelligence goes beyond knowledge. It involves the capacity to perceive things as they are, without the influence of past experiences or societal conditioning. Free yourself from conditioning. Society, culture, and personal experiences often shape our thoughts and perceptions. True intelligence arises when we recognize and transcend these patterns. Let go of the ego, the sense of self or I creates division and conflict. By letting go of the ego, we can experience true intelligence and create harmony within ourselves and in our relationships. Cultivate awareness. Awareness is the key to breaking free from conditioning. By observing our thoughts, feelings, and reactions without judgment, we can begin to understand the nature of our conditioning and transcend it. Perceive directly, without distortion, to experience reality as it truly is, we must learn to observe without the interference of preconceived ideas or beliefs. Direct perception is the essence of intelligence. True intelligence is connected to love. Love is not an emotional attachment, but a quality of intelligence that arises when the mind is free from self-centeredness and conditioning. True love is compassionate, understanding, and non-judgmental. Truth is not found externally. The search for truth is an inward journey. It cannot be found through external authorities, but through direct perception and self-awareness. Truth is timeless and universal. Please share, like, and subscribe for more content. Thank you.